Hello everyone, very good evening to all of you. Welcome to StudyIQ IAS English. My name is Abhishek Singh and I welcome you all in the third lecture of India's Ancient Past by R.S. Sharma. And along with R.S. Sharma, I have also added some references, some depictions and the descriptions given in the Tamil Nadu board textbook as well as in the new NCERT. So I hope that we are going to learn in a very cumulative way about the India's ancient history, particularly because the nature of questions which have been asked in the previous 2 to 3 years in UPSC examination, the nature of questions has been little bit difficult, ambiguous, or not so direct questions have been asked. So therefore, the focus that shall be more on the explanations and interlinking the different concepts and the events along with each other. So today we are going to learn about the Stone Age. Okay. But before that, all of you have to join the session and make it sure that as soon as you are joining it, do not forget to share this session with your friends and your colleagues as well, whosoever is preparing for UPSC examination and needs a complete revamp of the basics of subject of Indian history, culture. Then this lecture is going to be very essential for each of such students. So good evening Abhishek Kapoor, very good evening Mantasha, good evening Avika, good evening to all of you those who have joined the session. And guys, I hope that this session is definitely going to add some value, some positive value in your preparation. In fact, if this session you are going to attend from the beginning till the end, from the first lecture till the last lecture, I can assure you of one thing, that your doubts in the history, particularly ancient history, they shall be diminishing to a very low level. Now, if I'm talking about the candidate who is preparing for the 2024 Civil Services examination, here is the golden opportunity for such candidates, because the affordable education has been now realized by StudyIQ, who is offering the P2I batch for the 2020 examination, in which we are offering the batches in Hindi, English and bilingual mode, where we are offering the very significant details of the courses as well as all the required current affairs and test series, etc. Everything is there, including the very special mains residential program also. All of that at a cost of rupees 29,999. Just you have to use this code ASR Live. So the link is given in the description box. You can go to that link. You can enroll yourself by using this particular code ASR Live. Okay, now coming to the lecture topic. So before lecture, you can also join my Telegram group as well. Now here, now if I'm talking about if I'm talking about the today's topic, that is the Stone Age. Abhishek, don't worry, we will be doing that when you will be there in the lecture. So talking about the Stone Age, can somebody tell me the very essential thing? Why do we call it as the Stone Age? What is the reason of that? Why is it called as the Stone Age? Why is it called as the Stone Age? This is the first question, the very first question that anybody should have in his or her mind while going through the books of R.S. Sharma or any other old NCERT, right? Any other book of old history. So what do you think about it? What is the reason? So if I'm talking about the meaning of this Stone Age, see, in the human behavior, that is determined by certain factors, okay? Determined by certain factors. All right, everyone. Now, if I'm talking about certain factors, do you remember the previous lecture where we had discussed that in every time period, a few factors are there which determine the rate of change, which determine the extent of the changes and the evolution in the human life, in the human history. So what happened, that when the early human beings, they discovered or they invented the tools of, right, tools made up of the stone, okay, tools made of the stone, so their life started changing. Their life started changing. So the use of the stone was the most prominent feature of this time period about which we are going to learn. This was probably the earliest time period when the human beings they were discovering their existence, they were exploring this world, the atmospheric conditions in the atmosphere, basically the gases were changing their concentration. The earth was still cooling the temperature, still losing the temperature to cool down, and therefore the stones became the foundation of the life of the early human beings, and this is why this age is called as the Stone Age. Okay, everyone? Very good evening, Aisha. Very good evening, Avika. So, if I am talking about the Stone Age, do you remember one thing? Can somebody tell me that which is the name of the present age? What is the name of the present age about which we are talking right now? What is the present age? We are currently living in the age of internet, or the age of artificial intelligence, okay, or the age of information technology, such type of things. Now, when I am talking about the evolution, I had already mentioned about the geological development of the earth, which means that after the formation of the earth, it was not the same always. There were certain changes which were brought with the time, and the surface of the earth, it started showing the development and evolution of life eventually with the passage of time. So if you observe this time scale, beginning from the old time to the new time, okay, beginning from the old times to the new times, the different time periods that can be divided into aeon, era, period, and epoch. Okay, remember the name? How do you remember the name? This is aeon, era, period, and epoch. Okay, so currently if we are talking about the aeon, the first one, that was the Hadean, then Archean, then this Proterozoic, and then the Phanerozoic. Do you need to remember these names? It will be very good if you remember the names. If you remember the names, that will be very good. But more or less, you need to understand the latest Cenozoic era. So currently we are in the Phanerozoic aeon and Cenozoic era, and currently we are living under the Quaternary period. We are in the Quaternary period. So at least this should be the current phase of the human civilization, the current phase of the geological time scale. Every student must know about, because this is the part of your general studies, general awareness. Any candidate who is preparing for UPSC and who is not aware about the present geological time frame, that is extremely embarrassing for the student. They must be aware, because this is expected from any serious person who is in this field. Okay, so currently we are in the Phanerozoic aeon, Cenozoic era, and Quaternary period, and right now we are in the Holocene epoch. In which epoch? Holocene epoch. Now let me tell you one more thing. When we are talking about the Holocene epoch, can you tell when did it start? When did it start actually? It started around 11.8 thousand years ago, which means around 11,800 years ago. Okay, and what is the significance of this time period? Why am I telling you these times? Because since the beginning of Holocene, you can also call it as since the end of the Pleistocene, okay, since the end of the Pleistocene, the temperature of the Earth's surface that started rising slowly. What happened? The temperature of the Earth's surface that started rising slowly. Okay, the temperature started rising slowly. So this temperature which started to rise Okay, the temperature which started to rise, this led to the development of the warm climate. This led to the melting of the ice cap which was surrounding the maximum part of the earth. And once the ice caps they started melting, there was the rapid change in the pattern of vegetation, in the pattern of life, in the types of soil, and at the same time these changes also affected the manner of living, the way of living of the pre-existential species like Homo sapien or like any other human beings. Did you get the point here? Are you able to make this connection, everybody? Yes or no? Be quick to tell. I hope that all of you are able to understand this point here. Now let me tell you one more thing that if you are able to connect this thing, so here what would have happened? There would have been the development of the human beings. This is why when I am telling you about the Stone Age, so it is very, very clear, it is evidently very clear that the Stone Age that was actually developed, right? It was actually developed in a very prolonged manner, very, very prolonged manner. In fact, let me tell you that suppose if we are talking about the Stone Age, so that is divided into primarily the three parts. The first one, that is early Stone Age, then after that, that will be the mid Stone Age, followed by the new or later Stone Age. So there are the terminologies for that. They are basically Paleolithic, okay, then Mesolithic and the Neolithic. All right, and when we are talking about the Paleolithic age, basically Paleolithic age can be further divided into, three parts. That is the lower Paleolithic, okay, lower Paleolithic, mid Paleolithic and upper Paleolithic. So the question arises in our mind. The question that should be coming in all of the minds of us, that what is the criteria to divide this time period, divide this Stone Age? The first question, that is the criteria of division, okay, criteria of division. And the second thing, that is when is the, right, or what is the feature, of each period, okay. So if we are talking about the criteria and the feature and the time scale, so we can categorize these time periods into three distinct time periods. In fact, if we are talking about the early Stone Age will be, it will be somewhere near around, right, you can say 10 million years ago, around 10 million years ago up to 10,000 years ago. Okay, so between 10 million, 5 million, any particular range can be given. Why? Because there are continuously the latest discoveries which are happening. For example, you might have heard that recently there was a discovery of the archaic human beings, and you might have heard about the name of Homo naledi, right? Homo naledi is basically in the news recently, and it is said that contrary to the popular belief that Homo sapiens were the first species of the human beings who were the intelligent human beings, contrary to this belief, it is found in the excavations, in the discoveries, that Homo naledi, they had already formed the stone tools, they had already constructed their houses, and they were already living in the pit-shaped houses. So such type of latest information mixed with the theoretical information. That could be your next question in 2024 Civil Services Prelims examination. Okay, everyone. Now, if we go further, so approximately 10 million to or 5 million to 10,000, that can be a range. That can be a range. R.S. Sharma he ascribes the date 5 million years ago to 10,000 years ago. This time period is ascribed to the Stone Age, right? To the early Stone Age. After that, there is the Mid Stone Age, which lasts from 10,000 years ago up to 8,000 years ago. Okay. After that, there is the Neolithic Age or the later Stone Age, that is ascribed approximately from 7,000 years ago, and that goes up to approximately 4,000 years ago. All right, everyone. So this is basically the basic time period, basic time scale division of the distinct Stone Ages, distinct phases of the Stone Age. Got it, everyone? So whichever developments we are studying about the human beings, about their culture, about the way of their evolution, everything that will be covered in these three different time frames. These three different time frames. I hope all of you got the point here. Is it understood by everybody? Yes or no? Now, if we are moving further, so let us study about the African ancestors of the human beings. So who were these African ancestors of the human beings? Basically, it is believed that the earliest human beings, they developed somewhere in the area of Ethiopia or Nile River Valley, nearby Ethiopia, Egypt, somewhere in that area. There is no clear-cut evidence. Because if we study the NCERT, we obtain several examples. We have several examples that different subspecies of the human beings, they evolved and they spreaded through the different parts of the world. For example, if we see that approximately, right, modern man Homo sapiens sapien is traceable to approximately 1,15,000 years ago in the southern Africa in the late Stone Age, called as the Upper Paleolithic, which means the current species of human beings to which we all belong. All of us belong to the Homo sapiens sapiens. Okay. So Homo sapiens sapien, where did they originate? They originated somewhere in the southern Africa, nearby Tanzania, you can say, in the time period called as Upper Paleolithic. Okay. This species of the human being, they had comparatively larger forehead, comparatively thinner bones, and slightly elongated, slender structure. Okay. But obviously, if we compare it to the other hominid species, it has a large forehead, but originally made diverse stone tools for the different functions, but not clear whether he was, right, anatomically equipped to speak or not. Nobody knew about the speech ability of the human beings. Remember, we have not heard any animals or any apes to speak in a very synthesized manner, in a very syncretic and streamlined manner. They have no such ability to make their speech regulated, right? They can simply create a specific sound. I hope this is able to be understood by most of you. Okay. So the animals, they cannot create the different sounds, but human beings, as a human being, we can speak differently. We can speak distinct. We can make different sounds, different noises just from the same vocal cords. So when did the human beings learn to, you can say speak or say something? This is not clear. Okay. And if we talk about the modern human beings, so they basically adapted to the changing environment most suitably, and therefore till today they are existing. And at the same time, we can say that it was possible that in the ancient times there might be the different human beings coexisting together, as we will see in this particular image. For example, this is the human lineage, right? Human lineage, as we can see. And this was probably the earliest traceable form of the hominid, and this is called as the Australopithecus, right? Australopithecus afarensis. Okay, Australopithecus afarensis. And this was probably the earliest traceable hominid, as I told you. This was something more like apes, but it had the slendered structure, it had the properly divided digits, it also had the comparatively protruding brain, right? If we talk about the brain capacity, it was in the range of something like 400 to 600 cubic centimeter. It was in that range. Okay, so that means this ape-like human, this was not intelligent enough, but neither it was too modest to not invent or not evolve itself. So the word Australopithecus indicates the southern ape. Okay, this species was followed by Homo habilis. This is probably the first proper human species, which is said to be the earliest ancestor of the modern human, basically Homo habilis, followed by Homo erectus. The Homo erectus, if we talk about, right, if we talk about Homo erectus or Homo habilis, just have a look that Homo habilis was basically called as the skillful man. Skillful man means what? This human could construct a few tools. Simple tools, in fact, made of the stone. This could at least kill a particular animal or at least break the fruits, etc., using the stone tools. Okay, this existed around 1.5 to 2 million years ago, like 15 to 20 lakh years ago. Followed by Homo erectus, as you can see. Homo erectus, if you talk about, the meaning of Homo erectus is upright man who is standing in the straight posture, and this existed somewhere near about upper Paleolithic. Okay, upper Paleolithic time period. All right, and upper Paleolithic time period, it was the same time when the fire was discovered by the human beings. So it is believed that the Homo erectus had discovered fire, and this incident that was around 18 lakh to 16 lakh years ago. Okay, 18 lakh to 16 lakh years ago. After that, we found the presence of Homo sapiens. Basically, this is the subspecies of Homo sapiens called as the Homo sapiens neanderthalis. Homo sapiens neanderthalis. Okay, so Neanderthal is a place in Germany. Where is it located? It is a place in Germany, and we have obtained the fossil of Homo sapien neanderthalis from Germany, and that is why it's called as Homo sapien neanderthalis. But after that, we have found the Homo sapien sapien, which is called as the intelligent human. As you can see, this is exactly like the modern human being with the broad forehead, and the volume of the skull is approximately 1400 to 1500 cubic centimeter. And if we talk about the posture is upright posture with the complete division of the digits and elongated femur as well as elongated legs. Okay, so basically these are the features which are present in this particular human being. And if we talk about the discovery, so here we can say the early men in India, when were they discovered and where were they discovered, right? So early men in India, there are very less fossils present in Indian subcontinent, but whichever fossils are present, they are found in the Shivalik area. Shivalik area is basically, Shivalik is the lesser Himalayas or the outer Himalayas. Okay, so if we look at the presence of Himalayas, okay, so basically this is the Great Himalayas, Lower Himalayas and Shivaliks. So the outermost Himalaya ranges, they are called Shivaliks, and this is where the early men species and their fossils have been found in India. They were named as Ramapithecus and Shivapithecus. Okay, they were named Ramapithecus and Shivapithecus. Probably, if we talk about Ramapithecus and Shivapithecus, Ramapithecus fossil was probably a female. It was probably a female. And these fossils have been recovered from the places like Shivalik Hills and Potwar Plateau in the region of Pakistan, modern day Pakistan. However, in India, the earliest trace of the human beings, modern human beings, that is obtained from a place called as Hathnora in the valley of Narmada, and this was discovered in the year 1982. It was earlier regarded as this might be a Homo erectus, but the anatomical research proved that this was Homo sapiens sapien, or we can say archaic Homo sapien, that means the old species, old subspecies of Homo sapiens. Not just that, there are few more places from where we have obtained the earliest presence of the human beings, or at least the traces of their existence in the Indian subcontinent. For example, there is a place called as Bori. Bori, that is in Maharashtra. And it is believed that probably this place had the presence of human beings somewhat 14 lakh years ago. 14 lakh years ago. Okay? Because if we try to find out the age of human beings found in the Narmada Valley, that is called Hathnora, it is ascribed approximately a date of 2.2 million, right? 2.2 million years ago. Because the similar skull, similar to the Narmada man, the skull has been found in the Greece, and the carbon dating of that skull has clearly and evidentially proven that the skull was approximately 10 million years old. And this is why after the examination as well as expert opinions, this has been accepted that Narmada man was probably 2.2 million years old. Okay. So these are certain evidences of the oldest human beings present in India. Somewhere if we are talking about the modern human species which we belong to, that is the Homo sapiens sapien, there are evidences that probably this subspecies of the human beings, they came all the way from Africa, from the root of southern India, and somehow they spreaded in the northern parts. R.S. Sharma clearly says that the spreading of intelligent human beings in India, that did not occur from the northern side, but it occurred from the southern side towards the northern part. The evidence of which is obtained in the places like Kurnool in Andhra, in the places like Nilgiris of Tamil Nadu, and similarly there is a place in Sri Lanka that is called as Fahain, right? That is called as the Fahain, and in Fahain basically 34,000 years old Homo sapiens sapien, or the intelligent human being fossil that has been recovered. Okay. So I hope that all of you got the clear chronology or clear timeline of the presence of early men in India. Okay, everyone. Now let us understand about the theoretical aspects, about the factual details related to the Stone Age in India. First of all, let me show you this picture. So how many of you can explain the meaning of this picture? Everyone, how many of you can explain the meaning of this picture? Anybody who can explain the meaning of this picture? Anyone try to explain the meaning of this picture? What do you observe? What do you observe in this picture? At least you can see that a human being who looks like probably an ape is holding a stone tool. There is a small kid sitting just beside him. Then this fellow is eating some vegetables and holding the head of probably a stag, okay, a stag which was killed. And this, right, these two people where the female is holding a child and plucking some leaves, then these people are, they are probably repairing or constructing their huts where the female is also contributing, okay, and the males are also there. All right. So if we talk about this particular picture, what does it show? There are a few answers like stability. The answers say that stability. Some of them are saying like community. Okay, community. So apart from that stability and community, what else can you see? I can see here that they are living in a society. Okay, so they are living in a society, or this is a type of social life. Social life. At the same time, they can also represent the division of work. The division of work. Okay, the division of work. Then they are helping each other to survive, which is called as the coexistential, right? The coexistential life. Coexistential life. Okay. So these are certain common features. However, some picture, right, some details are very, very clearly visible. For example, like they are living in the vicinity of a huge rock. Vicinity of a huge rock. They are also living somewhere near the cave, somewhere near the water body, somewhere where the dense forest is absent. Okay. So how many other features? First thing, no dense forest. No dense forest. Second thing, nearby water bodies. Okay, nearby water bodies. Okay, nearby water body. Then presence of animals. Okay, presence of animals. Then cave shelters. Cave shelters are there. Okay, cave shelters are there. And also at the same time we can say that this is having a similar climate, somewhat similar climate which might existence in the savanna region, because the grasses are there, small trees are there, okay, and stone rocks are there obviously, then small streams are there, something very similar to the savanna region climate. Okay. Now Purushottam is having a question that sir, ये किस time का period का हो सकता है? So this could be, right, this could be an imaginary picture obviously, but this could belong to the Neolithic time period, or most probably the junction between the Mesolithic and the Neolithic, because that was the time when the human beings started living in such type of communities. But again, they were having the division of work, they were having the shared responsibilities, etc. But still they were not wearing clothes, still they were not having the knowledge of you can say transportation media or something like that. Okay, so that is why it may belong to a time period related to the Neolithic or the early Neolithic, right, something like that. Got it, everyone? Now let us understand about the details of the Stone Age. So I have already explained to you that the Stone Age can be classified into the early Stone Age, that is Paleolithic, middle Stone Age, that is the Mesolithic, late Stone Age, that is the Neolithic age. After that, if we try to have this map, okay, this gives you an overall idea about the geographical region about which we are going to study in our ancient history. We are concerned about this land also, because this entire land is basically that of India, the geographical expression, historical expression of India. All right, everyone. Now, phases in the Paleolithic age. The phases in the Paleolithic age. So these, right, this particular paragraph is directly taken from R.S. Sharma, the book from itself. However, we have already discussed the majority of informations given here. The first phase is called early or the lower Paleolithic age. Second is called as the middle Paleolithic age. Third upper is called as the upper Paleolithic age. Okay? So if we talk about this one, so what happened that in the first phase, broadly between 6 lakh and 1,50,000 BC, the second, that means the mid Paleolithic, 1,50,000 to 35,000 BC, and the third one, that is the upper Paleolithic, that is 35,000 to 10,000 BC. So this is the division of Paleolithic age. You can have a simple look here itself. Okay. Now, for example, if we talk about the division of upper Paleolithic, mid Paleolithic, and lower Paleolithic. Okay, so lower Paleolithic is 6 lakh, okay, 6 lakh to 1.5 lakh, 1.5 lakh. Okay. After that, the mid Paleolithic is between 1.5 lakh to 35,000. Then this is 35,000 to 10,000 BC. Okay, so this is the division of time period. This is the division of time period. Got it, everyone? Now, when we knew about the division of time period, so let us understand about the features of the different time periods here. And if we are talking about the features, for example, here we can say that lower Paleolithic or the early Stone Age covers the greater part of the Ice Age. Why? Because Ice Age ended just 11,800 years ago, which means the entire lower and the mid Paleolithic age that was going through in the Ice Age. So the rate of human evolution must be very, very low, very, very low. Got it, everyone? Now, if we talk about the common tools and the weapons, etc., which were used by the people of the Paleolithic age, so they used the hand axes, clavers, and choppers. Axes found in India are more or less similar to those in the Western Asia, Europe, and Africa, which means probably the similar type of technology existed throughout the region, or you can also say that probably in the similar time period we use more or less similar type of resources. Like today, even Europe is using iron, Australia is using iron. In fact, all the countries are using iron. If it comes to evolve towards a new metal or a new material, almost all the countries are trying to evolve and move away from the iron. Similarly, in those time periods as well, most of the people, they might be, or in fact they were definitely using the stones to manufacture or to construct a similar type of tools as well. Okay, little bit of differences might be there, but this indicates the commonality in the human evolution over a long period of time. Got it? Now, so basically the purpose of the axis, that was chopping, digging, and skinning. Early Stone Age sites have been found in the valley of river Son or Sohan in Punjab, which is in Pakistan. Several other sites have been found in Kashmir and Thar deserts. And lower Paleolithic tools have also been found in the Belan Valley of Uttar Pradesh as well as the desert area of Didwana in Rajasthan. So Didwana has provided the evidence of not just the lower Paleolithic but the mid Paleolithic as well as the upper Paleolithic. So we can say that Didwana is a place from where all the three distinct phases of the Stone Age have been obtained or have been found. Now this can be one question in your examination, statement based question. Okay, and one of the statements might be that Didwana has the evidences of the presence of all the three phases of early Stone Age. Absolutely correct statement. Got the point? So this is how the question might be there. Then there is a place called as the Charkhi Nawasa in Maharashtra that has yielded as many as 2000 tools, and also the other places are there in southern India from where tools have been found, like Nagarjunikonda in Andhra Pradesh, and similarly there is a place in Madhya Pradesh called Bhimbetka near Bhopal, and rock shelters in the Deccan. They have given several examples or several evidences of the presence of human beings. Okay. Now, if we talk about the stone tools, why are they important? Because the criteria to define the particular time period or the settlement of particular time period into the Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic age, the criteria was only the type of stone tool which was being used. For example, you can see here, for example, the stone tools which we are seeing in this picture, these stone tools, they don't appear in a very proper shape. They don't appear in a specific weaponized structure. They look quite rough, quite undressed. But then how can we say that they are the tools? They are not some random stones. Because of the presence, right? Because of the presence of the impressions of the use on that stone. Apart from that, the specific shape which was probably discovered in the earliest, the similarity to the presence of the stone tools. Also, most of these tools have been unearthed. That means they are not found just lying over the surface of the earth. It is mostly the excavation which provides us such type of tools. That is why these are regarded as the proper tools. Okay, so what are the features of the Paleolithic tools? Paleolithic tools, they appear undressed, irregular, unshaped properly, and this is why they are comparable to some sort of uneven shaped potato. You can compare that to the potato shape. Got it? And if we look at the other details about the people of lower Paleolithic, so lower Paleolithic people, they were principally the food gatherers. They took to the small game hunting and lived on the fish, birds, etc. Okay. So as we all are aware that the earliest human beings were not very efficient hunters. They were primarily the food gatherers. So remember one thing. In history, there is a misconception that human beings were earlier carnivorous and later on they turned to the herbivorous. It is wrong. The earliest human beings were herbivores because collecting the food, gathering the food is much more easier than hunting one animal and collecting the meat of that animal. This might have taken place accidentally, or this might have been a need of that time that the people started hunting along with the food gathering. This is why the earliest stone tools which have been obtained, they are suitable to crack the shells of the seeds. They are not suitable to kill the animals. Got it? But once the human beings, they started shaping the stones in the form of the axe, in the form of the cleavers, okay, in the form of the cleavers, then they started using these axe or the cleavers to kill the animal, to unhide the animal, and this is how they were using the tools. Right, everyone? Because in the Middle Paleolithic age, what happened? They were largely based upon the flakes or the small pieces of the stone which have been found in the different parts of India, these regional variations. So the principal tools comprised of the blades, points, borer, scrapers, all made up of the flakes. Remember one thing, the Paleolithic tools, they were made of quartzite. Right, quartzite. This quartzite, it was a very hard stone, very tough as well. However, even the flakes of the quartzite were very sharp and very powerful, very strong. Okay. So we can say that if the early Paleolithic tool that was something like a potato, so the mid Paleolithic tools, they were now something like chips, because they were basically flaky in the character, flaky in the features. Okay, so you can see here that if this is an uneven shaped potato, so this potato is sliced now, this is sliced now, and we are getting a thin, okay, a thin and flake shaped or flake like tool, flake like tool. Got it, everyone? I hope this is making sense to everybody, because earlier this was uneven, irregular. Now it is in the proper shape, in the proper blade or flake shape. After that, what will happen? After that, this will be converting into pointed, into the pointed tools and weapons. Okay, something similar to the fries. So potato, then potato to chips, and chips to fries. Evolution of the shape of the tools made up of the stones. Okay, now the geographical horizon of the middle Paleolithic sites that coincides roughly with the lower Paleolithic, because there was not much change. Artifacts of this age are found at several places on the river Narmada and Tungabhadra, particularly Belan Valley in Uttar Pradesh, then Vindhya foothills. All these areas, they contain the places, they have the places of the early and mid Paleolithic age. Talking about the upper Paleolithic age, so this age is the most dominant, right, most dominant among the Paleolithic sites in India. Why? Now, suppose there is a question asked in UPSC. Question has two statements. First statement, that India has relatively few numbers of number of sites belonging to old Paleolithic age. Old Paleolithic age. Second statement, the end of Pleistocene led to the spread of old Paleolithic settlements or Paleolithic settlement sites. Okay, then you have to tell here, the question is basically only two statements are there in this question. The question says that you have to select the correct choice. The choices are, suppose, which of the statements are correct? Which of the statements are correct? Option A, only one is correct. Option B, only second is correct. Option C, both are correct. And option D, none is correct. So you have to choose the correct option out of A, B, C, D. Tell me, everybody. So I hope that you all might be able to understand this question very clearly. Question is having two statements. Statement 1 is saying that India has relatively few number of the sites belonging to the old Paleolithic age, also known as the lower Paleolithic age. Okay, and the second statement, the end of the Pleistocene led to the spread of the old Paleolithic settlement sites. Okay, so I am asking you that which of the following statements is correct? Option A says that only first statement is correct. Option B says that only second statement is correct. C says that both the statements are correct, and D says that none of the statements are correct. The right answer here, let me tell you, that only the first statement is correct. India has relatively lesser numbers of the old or lower Paleolithic sites. India has higher or more numbers of more number of the upper Paleolithic sites, not lower, upper Paleolithic sites. That is the later Paleolithic sites, not old Paleolithic. Okay? So if we talk about the second statement is not correct. Why so? Why so? Because the end of the Pleistocene led to the spread of the old Paleolithic settlement sites. Come on. Old Paleolithic settlement sites were already finished. How many years ago? Approximately 1,50,000 years ago. The age of old Paleolithic, that was almost over. From that time period, we started, yes Aisha, we started seeing the mid Paleolithic age. After that, approximately the time period when the ice age was over, that means the end of the Pleistocene, at that time period, this was almost the end of the upper Paleolithic time period and the beginning of the Mesolithic time period. Almost that time. Okay, everyone? So I hope that you remember it. Okay, because just a few pages ago we were learning about it. Okay, so what was the time period? 6 lakh to 1.5 lakh, 1.5 lakh to 35,000, 35,000 to 10,000 BC. This is the approximate time scale division of the Paleolithic time period. Okay, everyone? So, I hope that it is clear to everybody. It is clear to everybody. So, end of the Pleistocene led to the spread of the old Paleolithic? No, obviously no. Yes, definitely Prithvi, definitely the complete RS Sharma will be covered. So guys, I hope this question has made a little bit clearer sense to all of you. Now let us look at the map and understand the presence of the Paleolithic sites in India. Okay, everyone? So here, this indicates the lower Paleolithic. This indicates the mid Paleolithic. And this indicates the upper Paleolithic. Alright, everyone? And if this is the diagram, then it indicates the presence of all the three phases of the Paleolithic period. So Didwana is the one where all three phases are found at Didwana. Okay. Then apart from Didwana, there is a place called as Renigunta. Remember these names, very, very important for your examination. Renigunta is the place where we have all three phases of Paleolithic period. Okay. Now after that we talk about the lower and the middle Paleolithic. Okay. So here apart from Renigunta, you can have this place as well called as the Nivasa. This also has all the three distinct phases, and Bhimbetka has also got the three different phases of the Stone Age. Apart from that, I don't think that there are many places which have got all the three phases of the Stone Age covered in the map. Rest of them, this all areas, as you can see here in the Lalitpur, near Lalitpur you will find the lower Paleolithic. Near Mahadev Piparia in Madhya Pradesh, you will find the lower Paleolithic. Adamgarh, lower Paleolithic. Okay. So all these places you can check on the map completely. They are very clearly visible. Alright, everyone. So guys, I hope that we have successfully understood the details related to the Paleolithic time period. In tomorrow's lecture, we will be covering up the Mesolithic and Neolithic revolution. Let me tell you that Neolithic revolution, that is going to be a very, very crucial part. In fact, no other time period in the human history witnessed such rapid changes as it was done during Neolithic time period. That's why that is probably the most crucial part in our ancient history's earliest phases. Mantasha, definitely third and fourth chapter are not concerned with this examination, right? So the chapters which we are covering here in the live lecture, only that only those chapters are important for the examination. Got it? So guys, that is all from my side. And by the way, if you are preparing for the 2024 examination, then do not delay it further to enroll for our morning batches, which are starting from 10th of July. You will be getting the batches in Hindi, English and bilingual mode. What you have to do, just click the link given in the chat box, in the description box below, and you can use this code ASR Live to reduce the cost of this course from 70,000 to 29,999 rupees. All right, everyone. So I hope that is all from my side. Thank you so much for attending it, and make it sure that if you loved this session, do not forget to hit the like button. You can also share this video, share this lecture for those students who are little bit serious about their preparation and they want the detailed discussion about the history topics. All right, everybody, take care, bye-bye, and have a great day ahead. Jai Hind.